Warriors! Man, there are so many big changes coming. We've all heard about the Flare Network, right? But now Songbird, the training ground for Flare Network, it's like the boot camp of boot camps. My name is Coach JB. I am the top health and mindset coach in the world. What you believe in your heart, you think in your mind will eventually become your words and become your reality. If you can see it in your mind, eventually you can hold it right here in your hands. What you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity. And we were going to say today is Tank Top Tuesday, but it is Monday because we're all in our tank tops. We have the most handsome research team in the world. And I do want to, before we start, say thank you to this team. They do a lot behind the scenes to bring this stuff to life. And today, what we're bringing to life is Songbird. You guys have all been excited about the Flare Network, the airdrop. We're all waiting for our airdrop to come in. And we know Flare Network is going to change the game. But it's going to be a little complex, right? How are you going to go and do all these procedures? But Songbird is the training ground for the Flare Network. Now, our team is going to break it down for you. Abs is going to give you a brief description of it, and then Mara's going to go deep, and then Johnny's going to tie it in together and help you guys understand. That's our main goal, is to share information with you guys to give you insight so you can make informed decisions. Number one, we are not financial advisors. Number two is don't trust a word you say. Do your own research. What we ask you to do is open up your mind and awareness. As you look this way at a pandemic, there's a whole nother narrative going on this way. And I believe there's never been a time like this. Never been a time like this. My mentor said this, that the common people like us can gain more wealth than we've ever gained in our life if you have a game plan, warriors. So if you want to join our private warrior academy, click the description down below to join this team. You can join our research team. You can ask questions. We have 3 calls per week, actually 4 calls per week, access to my portfolio, exit strategy, but we're here to talk about Songbird today. All right, so we're going to go to Abs first. Abs is going to tell us a little bit about Songbird and what we got going on. The floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. So Flare Network and Flare Finance are totally changing the game. The more that I realized that they're going to be integrating all sorts of assets and not just the original 4 that we had talked about a couple months ago, being XLM, XRP, Dogecoin, and Litecoin, it seems like this is going to be the next step for smart contracts and allowing them to just come into every single industry and network possible. So Flare Network it's combining XRP settlements with Ethereum smart contracts just to keep everything super simple for you guys. And I know that we keep getting the can pushed down the road with the updates when originally it was April and then it was July. Well, now, guys, I have an update for you. It's late September. So in late September, we should be getting our first 15% of our Flare airdrop, which is pretty exciting. And then every month after that, you're going to be receiving 3% of your total distribution. The Flare Network will create opportunities that never existed before. There's nothing out there right now that can compete with the Flare Network, and that includes Ethereum 2.0, which I'll get into later in the video. But a couple of things that I noticed before we let them take on the Songbird Network, was that the yield farming and the liquidity pool mining are going to be the difference makers here. So allowing Flare Finance to stake your ADA and stake your XRP, XLM, Dogecoin, Algorand, and Litecoin is going to lock in profits into these ecosystems and allow for decentralized exchanges to not be involved in your transactions. So it's all going to be run on algorithms. There's going to be no centralized exchange siphoning off profits anymore. And if they do, it's going to be extremely marginal. We're talking about fractions of a penny. So with that being said, I just want to kick it to Mario and get this thing started.
Awesome. Thank you, Abdullah. So let me share my screen. All right, so let's go over Songbird. First of all, what is it? So Songbird is a test canary network for Flare. It has its own token, which is the SGB. The balances cannot be replenished. So Songbird was inspired by Polkadot's canary network called Kosama. What is the purpose of Songbird? Essentially, it's a sandbox testing environment for Flare. It's going to have 2 phases. First phase is pre-Flare, which is for testing of the FTSO, state connector, and F-assets system. And the second is post-Flare, long-term network for testing governance-led changes to Flare, like incorporation of new F-assets. Now let's go over the Songbird token. SGB will be distributed only once and in the same ratio to all the same recipients of the FLR distribution. So everybody that was able to claim their FLR through the XRP is going to get Songbird just the same way. The total starting supply is going to be 15 billion. And basically for every one XRP held at the time of the snapshot, you'll be receiving 0.1511 Songbird. This is a overview timeline. It began back obviously in December 2020 with the Flare snapshot. It was originally supposed to come out anytime between June and July, but as you guys can see, and as Abdullah just mentioned, it's been pushed back quite a bit. In June 2021, those who held XRP in a self-custody were required to claim their Spark FLR. July 2021, we had Songbird announced. September 2021 is the estimated launch of Songbird. The first airdrop, which is going to be for the Songbird token, is estimated for September 2021. And in October 2021, just like Abdullah just mentioned, is the estimated launch of the Flare network. And hopefully we'll be getting the second airdrop, which is going to be for the FLR token. Now I'm just going to kick it back to John. He's going to go over this real quick with you guys.
All right, thank you. And hello, everybody. So you're probably asking yourself, all right, how do I get this thing? And so if we take a look here, it's a pretty cool chart that'll help you understand whether you're entitled to getting the Songbird drop or not. So you'll be able to come back and freeze the screen and watch this. But basically what you're seeing here is you want to start in the upper left corner and just ask yourself, did you hold XRP during the Flare Network snapshot back in December 12th of 2020? So you had to own it before that date. And if you, just a simple yes/no chart. So yes, if the answer is no, you follow that line down to the bottom, and you see here it basically says you will not receive any Songbird. Also, if you owned or purchased the Flare IOUs, as you can see, yes or no, either way, if you own Flare IOUs, you're also not getting the Songbird coin. So pretty simple in that aspect. Now let's go to the upper chart. So, or the upper arrow. So if you did hold Flare, or I'm sorry, XRP before 12/20 of 12/12/2020, then yes, you follow the chart to yes, right? And it says here, where did you hold XRP at the time of the snapshot? So if you self-custodied, let's say custody meaning you held it on your own wallet, then yes, you'll receive the Songbird airdrop as you see there to the right. Now, if you had it on an exchange, it becomes exchange dependent. This is where it gets tricky. So you follow the line down. It says, yes, you may be entitled to it if the exchange supporting the Songbird airdrop is going to support it. So now you're going to ask me, well, okay, which exchanges support it, right? So Amar, if you go to the next slide, basically exchanges, Flare has asked the exchanges to support it. That's typically how it works. And the exchanges have to come back and say, yes, we're going to support it, or no, we're not going to. So here's what we know as of, this was around as of August 5th. So it's a few weeks ago. It's the latest I could find. So far, the confirmed exchanges, BitTrue, Bitsu, and XMO already said, yes, we're going to support it. So if you owned your XRP before December 12th of 2020, and you had it on BitTrue, Bitsu, or XMO, you're going to get the Songbird airdrop, no problem. Exchanges that are considering it, you still may get them, you may not, depends on them, are the ones you see in that list: Altcoin Trader, Big One, Binance, BitCub, Celsius Network, CoinSpot, eToro, GateHub, Nadix, Nexo, Swift, Uphold, and Valar. So those are the ones saying that they may still support it. So you may get it, may not. We'll have to wait to see when the drop comes if these guys say yes, they're gonna. The ones who absolutely said, nope, we're definitely not doing it. That's, as you can see here, Anchor USD. Binance US is already out, but as you can see above, the rest of Binance, the rest of the world, global Binance is still considering it. But Binance US, you're done. Bitcoin, Swiss, BTC Markets, and Kraken all said, no, we're not supporting it. And then the rest of them that you see here in the list, I'm not going to read them. There's too many. They haven't commented yet. So some of those will either go into the confirmed bucket, the considering bucket, or the no intention bucket. You'll just have to continue to stay connected to, Google it, check it out, or stay connected to this channel. As we learn more, we'll try to share that as well with you guys. So hopefully that gives you an understanding of who's going to get the Songbird airdrop, or if you're entitled to it, and which exchanges are going to support it.
Awesome. So let's talk about who would like to take this one. So like, what exactly is so a sandbox, right? People hear about sandboxes. What is a sandbox? So when I think of a sandbox, how you go play in the sandbox before you get to the next level. Like, what exactly does the Songbird do? What does it do for the Flare network?
Yeah. So, Coach, I could start with that. Of course, everybody can chime in. But basically, the way to think about this is if you're a developer and you're writing a piece of code, when you develop it, we're humans. We all make mistakes. And so when humans make mistakes, the last thing you ever want to do is put a brand new product out there that the first time a user goes to use it, it fails, it falls apart, it doesn't work, right? So what happens is you create these what we call developer environments, and that allows developers to go in and create code, play with it, and find their bugs and fix their bugs, right? So many people have probably heard of beta testers. Some of you might have even been a beta tester for stuff. This is an environment where they can go and create things, and they can test and build it themselves to get it to the point where they think it's ready to go and then beta test with people, and people will then could go in and start using it and play with it and trying it out. And in the meantime, they need some coins, right? They need they need that the ability for the system to operate. So they're rather than using an XRP coin or a Flare coin, they decided to create this additional coin to say, hey, for the developer era, we're going to use this set of coins for it. And as Mario talked about, then as they get past this pre-Flare launch and they go to post-Flare, they're probably going to keep the sandbox open and always use it for new developing and new apps and products that are created, and they'll have this coin as a spare, as a foundation for running it. So that's kind of how I see it. But I welcome the guys to chime in if there's anything I missed.
Yeah, do you guys want to jump? Go ahead, Mario.
With Polkadot.
You're on mute, Mario, but we can hear you now.
You can hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I was saying it's sort of like the Kusama network with Polkadot. I mean, it's going to stay around. Every time there's something new that they want to play around with, they're just going to go to the Songbird rather than launching it straight on Flare. Mm-hmm. And I think it's awesome. I mean, we're gonna Flare Finance has said that they will be on Songbird, so we're gonna get, as soon as Songbird's out, we're gonna get to play around with all these new tools coming out. It's just awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, Abs, did you have anything to add?
So not on the Songbird network in particular, but I think that something that's gone like misguided or kind of gotten lost in the all the news narratives is how instrumental this change is going to be, because we have nothing like this existing right now. And a lot of people are getting frustrated with, oh, well, I wanted my money in July and not September or October. And I think that's all, it's irrelevant in a lot of ways, because unless you're working on a specific timeline and you need that cash as working capital, I mean, this is free money. And not only is it free money, it's free money in maybe the most important ecosystem to ever be created. And I know that might sound like a leap, but when you look at what's being implemented on this platform, I can't find anything else like it. So the only thing I could compare it to would be Ethereum. And I'm a huge believer in Ethereum. I actually hold some Ethereum. But one of the things that the Flare network is going to be able to do just on another level is it's fast, it's cheap, and it's scalable. There's no risk of 51% attacks. The transaction cost is cheaper than it's ever been, and probably as cheap as it can be. And it settles as fast as possible. It's run on the XRP network. So if they can get this thing up and running and get assets that are actually valuable integrated within the ecosystem, it's going to be so instrumental to the future of finance. I can't emphasize that enough.
Now, one thing I was going to ask, so just to kind of like, as people come into the crypto space, we're going to have people who are experienced and people who are like brand new to crypto. Like, how do I get into XRP, right? They're trying to get their XRP on Uphold, right? So like, talk to me as someone who would be developing on Songbird? Like who would do that? Would that be a regular everyday person? Would I be investing in the token, or would I be developing?
Actually, for the Songbird network, I'll pass that to Johnny. I can speak more to the Flare network specifically.
Perfect.
Yeah, so on the Songbird network, it's going to primarily be developers, but those developers could be large companies, it could be small individuals like ourselves. You're going to be able to get in there and be able to test different types of DeFi apps that you could build on there. I think really what happened is Flare recognized, like, holy cow, we got this big system we set up, but we have no place for people to actually try it, make sure it's working as we launch stuff. And so it kind of dawned on them like, oh man, we need to have this kind of developers area to allow people to grow and use our platform. So the good news is they recognize that early and quickly, and I think that's just going to promote more development of applications that work with Flare. I think it's really exciting.
Go ahead,
Yeah, I just want to add something. As far as investors, I would actually recommend everybody that's getting the Songbird token as soon as possible to delegate it to FLR as soon as FLR is available, just in case. I mean, it's supposed to stay around, but just in case it ends up not, at least you'll be able to delegate that into something else and not end up losing your Songbird tokens.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's so neat to see, because we're actually remember when we were in Vegas, guys, when we did our meet and greet, we met the NFL guys, and they're actually going to be coming onto the channel and bringing some NFL players. Like, think about what's happening right now. Like, the NFL players now, their whole concept is the NFL players that are retired can be back in the game and monetize themselves into a fantasy football type league, and people can actually buy the player and play the player throughout the whole system through an NFT token. And now here we got, so I think of like the way I always try to like make it relevant so people can understand. Like, for example, when the internet came out, right? If you owned a company, Mario owns a company as well, and it's like you would have to go to a company, a web company, be like, hey, build my website, and you had to rely on them to build your website. It was a big business, right? And now you can go to Wix and use your, the same protocols and build your own website, right? You used to have to get a sales funnel, but now you can go to ClickFunnels and build your own sales funnel. You can connect your own payment systems. You used to have go to a banker, and it's like, I hope people can see where we're heading to. When I got off the phone call with the NFL people, I'm like, that's really interesting, man. That's really interesting to see how we could tokenize ourselves. Like, we can absolutely tokenize ourselves, and the way we do real estate, the way we do finance, the way insurance brokers are going to work is going to be completely different. They're going to be building their protocols on these types of networks to run their business differently. So
yeah,
do you guys see it that way as well?
I was going to say, you can really see it in every single industry. Like, if you just look at cars, for example, we're going self-driving, and then you take it the next step forward and you're like, well, you're going to be able to send your self-driving car out there to make you capital while you sit on your couch and you're able to do something else. So this is just the crypto wave of that same concept. It's like everything's leaning into technology, NFTs, self-driving, even employment. It seems like, and I don't want to take a huge leap here, but when universal basic income comes in, there's going to be a lack of jobs. When we have automated drivers and we don't need fast food employees, we don't need people to stock shelves. And I'm not sure if we have any people who follow Tesla on here, but they just rolled out their robot yesterday, and that thing looks like a human. So how long, if you want to take a long outlook and say, okay, it might take 10 years until that happens, we're all still going to be here. So we're going to have to adapt during that time. So it's really like, if you're aware of what's taking place, you already have such a big advantage as opposed to people who are going to be caught off guard. And I think that's what's really important.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talked to the Dallas Fed. I watched it, one of their Senate here. I think it was Senate here, or it was a hearing. And the Dallas Fed was talking about, or it was an interview, sorry, with the Dallas Fed. And they were talking about the fact that their zoning requires you to have a drone landing spaces. Some of their zoning they're doing for commercial spaces, because they're also talking about autonomous drivers that not in the northern art where it's icy and stuff like that, but anywhere where it's cooler, it's warmer. They said that they're going to replace with autonomous driving vehicles, like truckers. And so, like, if you're in the trucking industry, you really got to. So I think people, what they should really do is sit down with their spouse, partner, loved one, sit down and say, okay, look at my job, look at my business, right? So I own a brick and mortar, Mario owns a brick and mortar. It's like, we look and we say, is this going to be here in 10 years? If it is, how can I innovate? So 3 years ago, I actually spent $30,000 on an online system, and it failed. 3 years ago, it failed 5 times. And then the C word hits, we look this way, and I'm like, turn those freaking baby on. We turned it on, and boom, we went global. And I could see futuristically with Peloton and all these companies coming. I'm like, man, I swear to God, we're just going to be training through a computer. And then God direction, it was like, here we are now. So I know, Abs, you were going to jump in there. Sorry.
Yeah, my dad he's in the oil industry, right? So I think it's really interesting to watch him adapt. He's 51 years old, and he has no sense of where technology is going. So he's always kind of, just the past 18 months, ever since the C word happened, he's been asking all these questions. And he's a hardworking guy. He doesn't follow the technology industry, but he sees changes are coming. And I think that when you get the everyday person waking up and starting to ask questions, it really shows how quickly this whole narrative can shift. And I always talk long-term, and I really think it's important. Like, we're all going to be here in 2 years. We're all going to be here in 5 years, barring anything that, but if we're not able to adapt and see these things coming, we're going to be caught off guard. So it's always important to be aware of what's taking place and not necessarily what's happening right now.
Yes. Oh, that's the you nailed it, man. You always got to look way ahead. You got the Paris Agreement. You know, that's was the first thing President Biden. The first thing he did when he went into office. This is not politics. He went right back into the Paris Agreement. You got the crypto climate accord that's connected to the Paris Agreement. You got all these cryptocurrency companies trying to move into zero carbon, right? You got the autonomous. It all connects behind the scenes. And then, you know, we got, you know, the Flare network, which is a decentralized finance. Crazy. This is crazy. So we'll just have a conversation. This is awesome. I think this is enjoyable. So Kevin and I, so we're launching a new company called Uncommon 1%. And we went into a BBVA to open an account because we went into business with somebody in Texas. And I walked, there was nobody in the damn bank. I mean, nobody when I walked in. It was like a ghost town. I'm like sitting there and I mean, they were so bored. They forgot to even greet us. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, this is wild. I mean, I used to work in banking 3 years ago. We had people coming in. There was nobody in the bank the whole time we were there. I'm like, this is really creepy. This is really weird. And what I thought about, you know, but if you go to like a Wells Fargo or a bigger bank, there's probably a lot of people going through. But I was like, how has it been lately? It's like, it's dead, man. It's dead there because he said we're pushing people towards technology. We are. And then I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram story. They said their whole motto is freedom. Freedom. I'm like, man, they need to pay us for that.
I stole that from you, Coach. Yeah. There's no doubt with the automation, everything coming. Skynet's coming to but you know, you talked about NFL players, you know, and you know, it's not just there; it's spreading. So one of the most famous soccer players in the world, Lionel Messi, actually said that he wants part of his salary paid in crypto. So it's just starting to spread. And when you think about how that may play out in the NFT world, you know, one of my favorite treasures out there is Chili's. CHC is a symbol, and they're all about tapping into the. You talked about, you know, tokenizing the sports player and being able to play with it, and this really allows you to uh, buy coins or tokens or NFTs of your favorite team, your soccer team, and they're expanding into the NFL and the NBA and all the other teams. And what's really cool about it is for the first time ever, as a speaking of NFL, it's NFL music, but it allows you to actually play and have some say of these teams. Like, for example, not that you're an owner, but you are per se. And so you actually have voting rights. You can vote, like, for example, where a team might play a friendly game, which players might play in that friendly game. It actually gives you something that makes you feel somewhat of an ownership of a team. To me, when people start realizing that concept, they're like, holy shit, I'm just the average Joe Schmo, and I can actually vote on which players I want to play in a game and where to play it.
Yes.
It's just that doesn't, you know, who would have thought of that? It's even possible 10 years ago, right? And here we are. It's pretty cool.
Abs, you can jump in there?
Yeah, just to kind of tie everything together, it's like exactly what Johnny's talking about. Everything is leaning into technology. Every industry you see that's going to be successful, the innovators, the ones who end up making more money than ever, it's leaning into technology. So just to bring Flare Finance into this, when they incentivize people to do the yield farming, the liquidity mining, which just means locking up your crypto in order to earn certain rewards and certain interest, there's no reason that people who are holding long-term and not going to sell those assets wouldn't integrate that money into that liquidity pool to be earning rewards on their money. As soon as they're informed about this stuff, another concept that we were talking about earlier this week is what's to stop people, and not financial advice, what's to stop people from going to the bank and taking out a certain amount of money at a certain rate, call it 3%, and staking it at a higher rate with a guaranteed your money, there's almost no risk there. So it's almost free money. And I think that once people become more aware of all these new ideas, all these new opportunities, it's only a matter of time before you see mass adoption.
Yeah, well, that's where I'll go to Mario in just a second. That's where the delicate pendulum is right now. And so you guys know I'm looking at it from the government, the deep dive in that side. And so they're in this delicate pendulum. I love watching Lynette Zhang. I highly recommend everybody go watch her. So they're in this delicate pendulum right now where they're like, the people are awakening to this new technology. Number one, the dollar has no value. I mean, it has zero value just because, and the only reason it has value is because we say it does. And because it's a world reserve currency. On the 23rd, I think now they're going to start printing at the SDR level, which nobody's really talking about that. They're printing at the SDR level. It's like they're just literally turning on the printing machine from the SDR level, from the country level. The debt ceiling is through the roof. I mean, mathematically, this cannot continue. And so I think what's happening, they're in this weird, probably behind the scenes, they're like, people are waking up. They're literally waking up that the dollar has no value, right? And then once everybody figures that out, Now it's going to take a while, but it's going to shift towards this. So they're shifting with us, like the crypto people. It's like we're shifting with them into this new ecosystem. Just think about in Rome, right? What did they do? They put them in coliseums. They put all the people in coliseums. They got them drunk. They gave them free alcohol. They had them addicted to sports. Think about sports killing people, and they were celebrating stuff. And there was Rome was collapsing basically. They were trying to keep them focused on something else, and they took over Rome. And so it's like it's the same thing that's happening. This is delicate balance, but we have so much access to technology, and that's why they shadow ban or shut certain channels down and stuff like that. It's not nefarious. It's whatever. It's nothing new under the sun, right? But it's really neat to be part to have. What's cool about this is having this conversation with you guys on technology that we're investing in that's going to change the world. And this is going to be here forever. This video right now is going to be here forever. We're going to look back with our grandkids sitting on the freaking porch going, holy shit, we were part of something crazy. Mario, go ahead.
Yeah, since we touched on the subject of brick and mortar, I just wanted to give a quick message, because I find myself asking me this. And if anybody watching owns a brick and mortar, ask yourself, is your business future-proof? I find myself asking that all the time, because if you have a brick and mortar, you have to make sure that you are future-proof, because things are changing towards technology, like we just said.
Yeah, and so we were just talking about this before we got on live with you guys, or this video with you guys. It's like, Mario owns a brick and mortar. I own a brick and mortar. We have a gym facility here that I'm sitting in right now. We're like, okay, so what are we doing with our facility, our brick and mortar facility, right? We turned it into a studio. We're getting we're building a YouTube studio, but like this is going to be a ultra high level private gym. Ultra high private level. We're not racing our way to the bottom. We're not some like EOS fitness, anything like that. It's going to be ultra high level where the clients have a key fob system, super sanitized, like high level, where and high ticket, super expensive to train here. Because you got to really think about what people are looking for right now. People are scared, if everything's dirty, everything's fearful. So you have to play the market. You have to understand what's going on, and you have to adapt to the market, right? Or you will perish. I think what people are going to do in brick and mortars, they're going to race their way to the bottom, trying to outprice or discount themselves to the bottom. You're not going to beat Amazon. You're not going to beat Walmart. You're not going to beat Costco. The only thing you can do is differentiate yourself as a business owner, and it's wording. It's how do you differentiate? How do you share with people what your product is? So what are some things like that's a great thing. Like, what are some things you're thinking about with your type of business?
To be honest, I'm planning on introducing something crypto related to my business, since it's to do with technology. I want to bring education to people about crypto, and I'm planning on adding something related. I'm still working on it.
That's awesome. Abs?
Something I want to add is I actually have a really close friend who does real estate in Miami, and he's talking about how they're integrating security tokens into these new projects behind the scenes. So only really high level real estate guys, CFOs, CTOs, CEOs are basically exchanging papers and trying to figure out how they're going to make this work, because they know it's inevitable.
Yes. I'm telling you guys, they're at the high level. So, we have an owners meeting. We had an owners meeting last Friday, and the big conversation was, where are we going to be putting our assets to secure our future for this company, right? Because we have employees, we have people working for us. Like, this is not just my future. This is everybody's future. This is all of our future as we grow, right? And so, like, we dollar cost average into Ethereum with our company, and so we're thinking about adding more into cryptocurrency. And then you saw what Coinbase did. The CEO, they just got approval from their board. You guys sent that to me, the research team. They got their approval from their board to add $500 million in crypto. 10% of their portfolio is going to go into crypto. But who sits on their board? Mark Andreessen, and he has the Andreessen Horowitz Fund, which Bill Hinman consults on the Andreessen Horowitz. So like the person who gave him approval has his own cryptocurrency fund, who Bill Hinman, who's from the SEC, sits on his board. It's like, guys, if you can't see it, man, holy cow, I don't know what to tell you, man. Go ahead, Johnny.
It's all connected, Coach. I think at the end of the day, what's important for anybody who's out trying to figure out the future is, it's really about diversification. Make sure you've got yourself set up. Look for multiple income streams. Whether you have a brick and mortar business, that's great. Keep it going. Maybe if you're older, maybe find somebody to sell it to. If you're younger, maybe buy it. But I think really it's a matter of looking at. We know that crypto is going to play a certain part in the world. We also know that fiat is probably on its way down. So I would encourage people to, again, not financial advice, to think about silver, think about gold. As if you follow the elites, if you look at them, that's what they're doing. They're going into crypto. They're going into silver. They're going into gold. They're buying, companies with cash flow. So those are the things, finding those ways to set up multiple income streams for your future. So you're not sitting there relying on, you never want to have just one, all your eggs in one basket or one racehorse. Look for multiple income streams. And crypto is just one of those. The nice thing about crypto is, as you mentioned earlier, all of us are investing so early into it. Like we're in the beginning of it, to the point where like people, when you talk to them, they look at me like, my friends still think crypto's a scam. I got a friend who works on Wall Street. He says, crypto's a scam, Johnny. Don't put your money in it. And I'm like, you're freaking nuts. So my point is how early we are. We're so early that if you're out there and you're watching this video right now, yeah, you still have time to get in. But I would encourage you, diversify yourself. Look at and buying 5 different cryptos isn't diversification. That's not what I mean. Look at real estate. Look at businesses. Look at gold. Look at silver. Just to me, that's the best advice we can give folks out there is the Flare Network is going to give you one of those opportunities by being able to go in, take some of your crypto, and as Abdul said, and we did a video a while back, there's 6 different ways to earn money in there. If you're not confident in how to do it, you know what? You could just stake your money in there and earn an interest right off the bat. So look into those things. They're out there. We're here. We're happy to help you. As Coach always says, if there's other things you want to know about, put them down in the comments below so we can answer those questions for you.
Yes, that's a great segue into the end words, because what we basically do, that's what our Warrior Academy is all about. In the description down below, you can join our Warrior Academy. You have a crypto question section. We have 3 calls a day with our technical analysis team where they're breaking down new gems coming out. We have a deep dive crypto call every Thursday. For example, last week we had my mentor, Ken Mack, multi-millionaire, $500 million, mentoring me into LBOs and this team into LBOs. We're all going to be, here's the thing. Let me just look in the fucking eyes and tell you what's happening. We're taking people with us. That's what we're doing. We're locking arm in arm. For example, I would be great if Mario started his own crypto business, Johnny started his own crypto. Abdul, this is about us locking arm in arm, marching into the future together. This is about abundance. Here's what I want to tell you. There's enough money for every single one of us on earth to be wealthy beyond our wildest dreams. It's a paradigm that we've created that poverty exists. Let me repeat that. There's enough money for every single person on this earth to be rich. It's a paradigm that we created that poverty exists. Poverty is a decision. Now, you can go back and forth, say, I was born in certain places. There are so many people who are refugees who came here, who have started businesses. Most of us in the past have worked for people who came from other countries and realized how freaking amazing it is here. And we're in the freest country in the world, and we're some of the most enslaved people through our nutrition, through our mindset, through our phones. Okay, so it's time for us to wake up, lock arm in arm, warriors. Now, the key is the people you surround yourself with. That is the key, right? If you are not strong enough mentally to go into the crypto space, then really think about surrounding yourself with different people. Because when you go to tell somebody about crypto, they're going to rip you apart because they just don't understand it. It's not that they don't like you. It's not that they're trying to disrespect you. They just don't understand it. Imagine if I walked into Japan. I don't speak Japanese, right? It would be very confusing for me. It would be scary. I'd probably be a little off, right? So what would I do? I would find a tour guide. The tour guide that speaks English, and they would start to show me the places. And after staying there for a little while, I would feel more comfortable. And then I would start to understand how to ask for different food, how to ask to go to the bathroom. And then after a while, if I stayed there for a couple months, I'd probably be speaking Japanese and get engrossed in the culture. Think about it that way as you go into crypto. You don't have to have all the answers. I got into crypto 1.5 years ago. I'm very blessed to have these guys around me. They know way more than I do. But what I do is I surround myself with people who are way better than me in the certain areas. So if crypto seems confusing to you, take a deep breath. It's new to all of us. New stuff is coming out every single day, warriors, and that's what we're here to do, is bring you that information. So we want to support you. We want to help you. We want to help you grow as well. So everything in the description down below. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. As we always say, warriors, rise. Get your shit together. Let's go.